day you have given yourselves by being here. I hope it's very productive, and the lineup is exciting. My part is to talk about how you affect others for your success, because I know you're brilliant. You wouldn't be where you are. That's necessary, but it's not sufficient. You also have to control your effect on others versus leaving it to chance. And this really came home to me. Flying in, I was seated at the window seat, which I like, and I was looking out a lot because I like to see the terrain and the clouds and guess which town I'm flying over, and even pick out a building and imagine what's going on. So I apparently was really studying this a long time. And when the flight attendant came up to offer a beverage, he said, "I noticed you're looking out the window a lot. Is this your first flight?" I kind of smiled and I said, "No," I said, "I just like to look out the window a lot." And he said, "Well, usually when people look out a lot, they're either scared or it's their first flight." And I didn't tell him I had 1,000,000 miles on that airline alone, but it did hit me that, wow, the most innocent action on my part caused a conclusion, an effect on him, an erroneous conclusion, right? And I thought, wow, that's what you and I need to do more of. Make sure we control the effect we have on others. So the message we send is the message we intend. And this has happened before. I was on a flight, and as I boarded, I asked the flight attendant, the ticket person, if I could get the bulkhead again. I like the window and the bulkhead. And he said, "It's occupied. We have it reserved." There's a disabled gentleman with his dog, a hearing aid dog. So interesting, but I took my seat behind bulkhead, and sure enough, there was a man seated in the bulkhead with his a brown Labrador retriever at his feet, and he would make some gesture, some movement, and the dog would obey, and he'd do something else, and the dog would obey. So I assumed it must be the deaf man they had referenced. But he was on the aisle seat, and there was a center and a window seat unoccupied. So, and I'm behind him, so I take out a piece of paper and I write a note. I said, "When we take off, if those seats remain unoccupied, do you mind if I move up?" And tapped him on the shoulder and handed him the note. And I could see he read it, and he leaned around like that would be okay. So when I was certain it was okay to move up, I did, and took the window seat, which I like, and just kind of smiled, in appreciation. And a little while later, he leaned in and he whispered, he says, "I'm not deaf. The dog is what I do. I train dogs for the movies, and he's too valuable to ship in cargo. So I act like I'm a hearing aid man so he can travel with me." He said, "If a flight attendant comes up, be sure and do something." So we start having this delightful conversation because he's telling me all about the Hollywood openings with the starlets and how he has to accompany the dog with the limo, right? And of course, word has been passed among the crew. There's a deaf man. Flight attendant comes up, and with exaggerated facial expressions, she says to him, "May I get you a beverage?" Then she turned to me, "May I get you a beverage?" And again, he's doing what you and I don't do enough of. I'm not promoting his dishonesty, okay? I want to make that clear, but I am promoting the fact he has thought in advance of the effect he wants versus leaving it to chance. And when I say effect, I don't mean an affectation, an artifice, but let me ask you, let me get your opinion here. In addition to being viewed as brilliant at what you do, would it also be okay if people thought of you as memorable, impressive, credible, genuine, authentic, trusted, comfortable, confident, cool, calm, collected? I mean, would that be okay to have that effect on people? You tell me. Good, because I'll give you a secret to make that happen. If you want to be more memorable, impressive, credible, genuine, trusted, liked, cool, calm, collected, confident, competent looking, and competent in reality, but if you want to have that effect, the secret is this. Intelligently observe what most people do in any situation you are in, and don't do that. Okay? But when you take on a new client in outplacement, what you always do is try to find out why that person was let go. Because the public announcement is not the truth always. He wanted to spend more time with his family. No. He was fired. Anyway, when I would have conversations, I would try to find out what is the real reason, despite belt-tightening reasons, despite, okay. And truly, honestly, universally, what it came down to, the reason a certain person was let go, same reason I was. Something you can't quite put your finger on, this intangible, this fuzzy, and you know what I mean. You see this. I mean, Lockheed's an exception where the brightest are obviously at the top, but in other companies, that's not always so. It's somebody who's pretty bright, but they've got, you know, so I got to study this. I have to find out what this is, because this had adversely affected my life and was adversely affecting other people's lives. So on my own, literally over an 8-year period, I interviewed about 2,000 of the most successful people I could find who would talk to me, and I asked, when two people start in their career with comparable intelligence, ambition, attractiveness, height, whatever factors come to play, why, over time, does one get to these levels and one to these levels when everything was so comparable? Found it was this. So I said, well, you know, what is this? And I concluded in my research, it's how you think and act and relate. I believe your number one job as a human being walking this earth is to do all you can to maintain the self-esteem of others. That's all giving acceptance is. You don't want someone to ding you while others don't. Just because they're different in terms of their character or motive, that is irrelevant. Their behavior, yes. They work for you, they work around you. Their behavior is something you should deal with. But their character and motive is something you have no right to judge. Okay? Because they are different. And an amateur thinks people are like me, you. A pro realizes everybody has a different mama. So you do not judge others' character or motive, only deal with their behavior. A CEO friend told me this. He described it this way. He said, you know, Deborah, in my company, 1/3 of the people I would walk on coals for. They are fantastic. 1/3, you know, pretty good. 1/3 I would do without if I could do without. My job as a leader is to make sure they don't know which camp they're in. Say this is Mr. or Ms. Big in your life, because we all have people like that, of course. You know, it can be bosses, it can be your divorce lawyer, it can be your minister, someone powerful, intimidating. When you deal with that person, expect acceptance means you put yourself here. Not here a little because, well, you're nice and humble and you don't have the title and you don't make the money and you don't have the tenure. As a human being, you are here. You can give respect and appreciation to that person's title and power, but you give here too, because if you don't, they won't. I think of a mentor of mine, a very seasoned executive, an older gentleman. He got a military deferment for too high of an IQ. Really smart guy. He was an older gentleman, like I said. He was attributed to inventing stereo, and he actually was one of the engineers that helped put the first man on the moon. Very smart guy, very accomplished. And he says to me one day, he says, Deborah, you know, I've been a CEO for 42 years. I never discriminate against women or minorities. Never have. I do discriminate against women, minorities, and men who discriminate against themselves. If they don't expect acceptance from me, why should I give it to them? I figure they know themselves. I take them as they present themselves. So you will have a lot better chance at your seat at the table if you go into every situation like this. You sabotage yourself when out of humbleness, religious training, socialization, fear, habit, you do this. Because see, if you do this, no one in your company or around you and your team is going to say, oh, come on up to my level. If you do this to yourself, they are more likely to go, okay? Now, if you buy into this, the flip side is you must give acceptance. So if this is you, how you feel about yourself, this is where you have to put the jerk or the jerkette that you work with. You can't put him or her, right? Okay? Expect acceptance, give acceptance. Because see, your job as a human being, much less a leader, is to do all you can to maintain the self-esteem of others. If you do that, my friends, people will walk on coals for you. One of the most surprising things I found in the research of talking to the CEOs about what catches their eye, what causes them to want to promote what they did themselves. The most surprising thing was I heard over and over in different versions, I want someone who will fight with me. Now, not to ad nauseum, okay, but they don't want a sycophant. They want someone who will push back. And of course, my question was, and how can I do that? How can I push back without getting fired, type of thing? And there's ways you interact. So the third part of what I talk about is how you interact to push back. Because that's what they want. So many said, if the person just agrees, goes along, even does what I want, they're like so valuable to me. It's a person who challenges me, who questions me, who keeps me sharp. Okay? So how do you push back? Several things. The use of humor as you do it. I know all humor is risky, but afraid to use it puts you here. Willing to use it puts you here and shows. Okay, you're Mr. Big, you're busy working, all right? And I have a chance to walk in the door, knock, and you say, come on in. I'm going to walk in the way one can walk in, and you tell me how I affect you, all right? So you're busy working. Here's the door. See? Okay. Hello. Hi, I'm Debra Benton.
Debra, nice meeting you.
Okay, cut. Now, anything unusual there? I mean, did I look, how did I affect you? Let's put it that way. A little slouchy. Okay. Mm-hmm. Did I look this? Did I look a hair this? A little this. I mean, I wasn't like picking my nose or something, inappropriate, and I looked like what a lot of people look like when they come into your own office, right? Let me try it again, see if it feels any different. Same situation. Here's a door. Daryl! Cut! Daryl, I'm the star. I get the laughs, okay? You just play along. Okay. All right. Okay. So. Hello. Close the door. Hello, Debra Benton.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you. Okay. Cut. Same situation. Did it feel a little better this time? Okay. Same nervousness, same two people, but by controlling the physical picture you get, because see, people conclude in about 15 seconds about 8 different factors. They conclude rightly or wrongly your education, your socialization, your intelligence, your success. Before you open your mouth as you walk in. So I'm saying give them what you want them to see, which is memorable, impressive, credible, genuine, trusted, liked, cool, calm, collected. Remember I said earlier the rule, do what others don't? Let me just stop a minute and take a little commercial break here. Expecting acceptance is doing what others don't. Giving acceptance is doing what others don't. Slowing down good posture is doing what others don't. So that's when I say, like I said in the beginning, if you want to know everything we talk about today, intelligently observe what most people do, then don't do that. Okay. The self-talk that supports acceptance is, I'm adequate. I want to get better. I work to get better. But right now, I'm adequate. Just say it to yourselves. I'm adequate. I want to hear it. I'm adequate. I'm adequate as a mother, as a parent, as a spouse, as a leader, as a manager, as a friend. Because there are one of two options. And if you could give me another one, I'd love to hear. You are either adequate or inadequate. And it is your choice. Okay? I don't want this. This is overcompensation from insecurities, and this is where false bravado and bitch and stuff like this. I want this. With everyone, under any circumstances, until you die. You have a God-given right. This is something you give to yourself and no one can take away. And the give acceptance is your obligation to others. And it's so simple to do. This does not require a new hairdo, losing weight, changing companies, go to another company or a city. It's like my friend Allison is out here from Microsoft, and she said to me the other day, she said, you know, Deborah, if people wait till the heavens open and angels sing to expect acceptance, get it. You'll wait a long time, okay? You take it, and you give it. Giving it, just to give a quick story here. I was speaking in San Francisco some time back, and every night, it was like 3 days in a row, I went for a walk. Pretty views, nice route, and went by the same corner, manned by the same panhandler. 3 days in a row, saw the same man. I never gave him any money. I only gave him this, meaning when I walked by and saw him, I nodded, hello, like I would if I saw you, okay? I gave him this versus panhandler, right? Fourth day, same route, same walk, see the same panhandler, and from a distance I saw him kind of straighten his posture, and I got right up close to him. He took his cup of coins and he shook it and he looked at me and he says, I have enough money to buy you a drink. Now, for the record, I did not take it, but look what I did to his self-esteem. And again, that's the power you have.